Yes, it's true. Facebook ads are dead. At least the way they are used to run. But here's the thing. If you understand the new rules, especially since Meta's Andromeda update, Facebook ads actually might be more powerful and easier than ever before. In this video, we will break down why the old playbook doesn't work anymore, what the new Andromeda update actually is, and most importantly, what the new strategy is that the successful advertisers are using right now in order to create these outstanding results. You will get 6 major improvements for your ad account. So if you've been struggling with rising costs or bad results, this might actually be the reset you might have hoped for. Let's start first with the elephant in the room. Why are there so many people telling that Facebook ads are dead in 2025? The landscape changed completely, and there are so many updates happening all the time, especially on technical sides, that of course also the algorithm improves and evolves. This also means that the way Facebook ads used to run are not working anymore. Maybe you have seen my videos about why top of funnel, middle of funnel, and bottom of funnel are not working anymore. And there are so many aspects to it, like tracking, rising CPMs, increased advertisers on the platforms, and so on and so on. And if you look at YouTube videos about Facebook ads a couple of years ago, or maybe even months, there are a lot of outdated strategies told. A lot of strategies are focusing on campaign tweaks, on bidding strategies, on setups, but this is all outdated right now. So if you're still running ads like 2 years ago, or maybe have like testing and scaling campaign setup, this might be the reason why your ads are not working anymore and why so many people say Facebook ads are dead. But here's the new thing. The new Andromeda update changed the algorithm once again completely. This update now is Facebook's biggest leap into automations and AI automated delivery. Instead of using a lot of data from campaign and ad set settings, the algorithm right now focuses on creative assets and user intent signal. So we as an advertiser, we don't need 20 campaigns and 50 ad sets anymore. We need to focus on feeding the algorithm the right assets so that the delivery is optimized based on that, and the algorithm can mix and match different ad sets. In other words, Facebook is not anymore campaign driven, but it's now asset driven. So how do you adopt this change right now? The most successful advertisers, they are focusing on asset creation and asset delivery. They work together with the Meta algorithm, and they have not too much focused on targeting settings. Most of them are using broad targeting, also what I have recommended since multiple years right now. And they are focusing on storytelling, on user research, and from that also on asset creation. And in order to make this clearer, let's jump on my desktop and look at the 6 ways that you can implement in your ad account right now. Let's have a look at the first of the 3 components that are very important right now. The first one is user-first creatives. And this is depending on your positioning and your product, but for the most ad account it applies. It means your ad should feel like they belong in someone's feed or stories, that they are native and not looking like too much stock material or too polished. You have to be aware that, as mentioned, depending on your product price point, your positioning and so on, it might make sense to have more polished content. Also, if you already are spending like close to 6 figures per month and have only UGC, then it also makes sense to have more variation, and we will come to this. But for the most ad accounts, they lack actually like native, qualitative content that people actually want to see on the platform. And what you want to avoid is that if people scroll through their feed, they immediately recognize, oh, this is an ad, this looks like stock material, and they continue swiping. You can ask yourself, how do you react to images or videos like this? And for most, it's like uninteresting. Use lo-fi videos, UGC-style content, or testimonials like also, once again, very natural material that mirrors how people already consume content on Instagram, Reel stories, and so on. You can also ask yourself every time you look at your ads, why would someone stop scrolling to watch this, even if they didn't know it was an ad? Now, when you have this like about the visual style, then we come to the next point, to build a deep asset library. So what you do not want to do anymore is you rely on like 1 or 2 winning creatives and try to create as many variations of it with like tiny adjustments. Now with the algorithm changes, you need to feed it much more variation and much more diversity of the content. This can mean also the content style. For example, besides UGC, also more polished content. But more importantly is the messaging and how you speak to people. And for this, you can think in buckets of how you build like this asset library and the variation. It can be content-wise, for example, hooks. You can have problem-aware hooks, solution-aware, skeptical ones, surprising ones, and so on. It can be based on the visuals. It can be short. It can be more long-form content. It can be memes. It can be lifestyle shots. It can be like iPhone content. It can also be with like a nice DSLR camera, and so on. And also you can bring more variations in your call to action. So you can be really direct, salesy, on the point. You can be much more softer, more empathetic, but also, for example, curiosity driven. Once again, an example, instead of like the same ad with simply 3 different headlines, you should create now much more ads that have much bigger differences, and you can like all these different angles and formats you can also put into 1 or 2 ad sets. Now, when you have all these assets, the next question is, how do you test them? And at least my perspective is not to have like these testing and scaling campaigns. From my perspective, this is an outdated strategy, but you simply see your ad account like as a content lab that also uses its own data and its own algorithm in order to test for you. Your focus is now to feed it and to create the right ads for the right audiences. You need to test also for you, what have you not yet done for which kind of content? What can you do? What do you see from others that you can implement for your own? The next 3 things is personalization at scale. This also, once again, ties back to the content. Create content for different personas and don't try to have like this very fixed one kind of audience, like this one avatar, and you only target your ads or create your ads for this specific avatar. Think on a broader scale, but make everything hyper-personalized. So create creatives for different personas. For example, the skeptical person, or the dreamer, or the problem-aware person. Maybe you're aware of the different awareness stages. One of my first videos also was about this. So if you have not yet heard about this, you can find this video here. Your goal is, as mentioned, to feed the algorithm the right assets, and then the algorithm matches the right persona to the right user. How do you do this now with all targeting and campaign setups and so on? You should, from my perspective, leverage broad targeting. It's something that I personally use since over 3 years now. I don't think greatly about audience testing with like lookalikes and interests and so on. It can work on like really small budgets, but if it's actually about scaling, then this is not leverage. So stop over segmenting like by different kinds of audiences. Let the AI find the right people and then adjust. It can be that you then exclude age ranges or that you apply the newly introduced value rules in order to adjust the biddings. Your job isn't anymore like really to guess who to target. Your goal is to give Andromeda the right creative ammo in order to attract the right people. I hope this now lands slowly and becomes clearer how this all ties together. And what you can do and what I would recommend also is to use audience segments based on your advertising settings. so that you have a better overview about where the algorithm spends its money, and then to be able to also adjust. Now, the last point is to simplify your campaign structure. The days with like 20 ad sets and each and everyone has like $10 or $20 is gone. Keep it lean, keep it simple, and keep Facebook kind of accountable. Let Facebook do its stuff, and the algorithm will work on the optimization. For you, it's about monitoring, it's about understanding, it's about creating new assets, and then directing the algorithm after a couple of tests. Focus your energy on building creatives, not account complexity. And what you can use is you can use simply the ad accounts as kind of a structure for you to have a better overview. So if you have content buckets, then you can use your ad sets as like a home for each content bucket in order for you also to have a better overview and to have more clarity about what is working and what isn't. As you can see, Facebook ads is not dead. Facebook ads has evolved, and so should you. So if you have more questions about broad targeting and how to actually target with ads and what data sets the algorithm uses in order to find the right people and where the creatives come into this and why it's so important, then you can watch this video where I will share more in depth with you how the targeting algorithm works right now.